This is Algebra 2 with Trig, working on Unit 2B.3. We're dividing polynomials. We're going to first start off back in elementary where we were dividing using long division. We have 8 that goes into 2,345. So you first want to see, does 8 go into 2? Of course not. Does 8 go into 23? And we would say it goes in there 2 times. You multiply. You bring the 2 back and multiply the value out in front, which is 16. Draw the line. We change the sign. We subtract these two numbers. So that gets us 7. Drop down your number. 8 goes into 74. 9 times, which multiply again, right? 9 times 8. Multiply this through to get 72. Subtract it. So we get a 2. Bring down your number. 8 goes into 25. 3 times. Multiply to figure out what goes in here. Subtract, and we get 1. So the way we're going to write our quotient is to say 293 plus 1/8. The 1 is the remainder, and the 8 is our divisor. So now we're going to do this with polynomials. Very similar. So we're going to start out with x squared minus x minus 2. That number goes in front. And we'll write out not just the coefficients, but all the terms and all the place values. So this is a 3, a 2. There is no x to the first power. So we have to hold a place value for that. Now, to help decide what this goes into, we really only look at the first terms. We're going to look at x cubed, and we're going to divide it by x squared. And that comes out to be x. 3 minus 2 is 1, so x to the first power. So we're going to put an x above or in the x column. Then we come across and we distribute that back in. So x times x squared, we add the exponents to get x cubed. We're supposed to get exactly the same term. That's why we chose to use x there. Because we wanted to see this goes into that how many times. And then x times x is x squared. And x times negative 2 is negative 2x. We come down and we change. We don't just subtract, we change all the signs. We kind of distribute it to all of them. You've got to change the signs, so we're subtracting all the signs. Now notice that if you have a positive and a negative of the same term, they cross out completely. They will always cross out completely. That's why we set up this number. This one's a plus, this one's a plus, so we get 4x squared plus 2x. Bring down your number. So now we have our 4x squared divided by x squared. Those cross out, and we get the number 4. So we put down a positive 4. We have that now in the constant column. We multiply or distribute that in. So 4 times x squared is 4x squared. That is supposed to match. That needs to match. That's why we chose to work with 4. Negative 4x and negative 8. So then we come through and we change our sign. Now I am circling my new sign to make it very clear what my new sign is. Don't just change a negative to a positive. Don't just put a negative sign in front of the 4. You want to be able to see what is the new sign, what is different. So if you're ever to check your work, you could go back and see everything you did. So you cross out. Now you have positive 2 and positive 4 is 6x plus 1. Notice how the degree of 6x to the first power, the degree is 1. The degree is smaller than the degree of the divisor, x squared. So you know you don't have to divide again. You're all done. So our quotient, our final answer is x plus 4. And 6x plus 1 divided by x squared minus x minus 2. So the remainder goes on top of the fraction. The x squared minus x minus 2 goes on the bottom. Let's try it over here. Why don't you pause the video, see if you can set it up. How would we set this up? We take our x squared plus 2x minus 1, and we divide that into 2x to the 4th plus x cubed. Notice there are 0 x squared, so I need to have an x squared column, plus x minus 1. So I take my 2x to the 4th and I divide it by x squared. And that comes out to 2x squared. So I put that in the x squared column. Then you have to distribute it through to get 2x to the 4th. X squared and x squared is x to the 4th. These match. They have to match. That's why we use 2x squared. Positive 4x cubed, a squared, and an x make a total of 3, and a negative 2x squared. Change the sign, change the sign, change the sign. It's going to cross them off. Negative 3x cubed plus 2x squared, and drop down your sign. So now we take our negative 3x cubed and we divide it by x squared. So go ahead, pause the video, work out your next set of steps, and then you can evaluate how you did. So this becomes negative 3x. So you put that in the x column. And we distribute. That gives us negative 3x cubed. It has to match. That times that makes exactly negative 3x cubed. It's a good way to check your work to be sure this is right. Negative 6x squared. Positive 3x. Change the sign, change the sign, and change the sign. So these are going to cross out. One's negative, one's positive. They're the same otherwise. These two add together to be 8x squared minus 1 minus 3 is negative 2x. And then you bring down your negative 1. And then we take our 8x squared, divide it by x squared, and we get just 8. Those cross out completely. So we have a plus 8 sitting at the top. And you distribute that through to get 8x squared plus 16x minus 8. Then go through and change the signs. So these cross out completely. They have to cross out. That's the whole point of what we're doing. This makes negative 18x and plus 7. So our final quotient is 2x squared minus 3x plus 8 and a negative 18x plus 7 over x squared plus 2x minus 1. Now we're going to be talking about synthetic division. Synthetic division can be used to divide any polynomial by the divisor in the same or in the form x minus h. It's got to be a binomial to the first degree. We'll use the same format as synthetic substitution. This is called synthetic division. We're going to use the same format as synthetic substitution. But instead of focusing only on the last number, all the values below the line are going to be used. The values below the line give us the coefficients of the quotient, which will be in 1 degree less than the dividend. We'll talk about what that means. The last number is the remainder, which we put over the divisor, just like we just did. So we're first going to start with setting our divisor to 0, because we want to figure out what x needs to be to make 0. So then we're going to set this up just like we did for synthetic substitution, using the coefficients, using our number on the outside, drop down the 2, multiply the two numbers together, place it underneath the next one, add them together, multiply together, and multiply. That's 150, so 177. So 182 when you add them together. So this was a cubic equation. So if we're going to divide by the first degree, then this is going to be 1 degree less than the cubic equation. So this is going to be 2x squared plus 15x plus 59 and 182 divided by x minus 3. That is our quotient. We set this one up the same way. So we're going to say negative 2, 1, negative 1, 0, and negative 10. Multiply, multiply, we get the answer of negative 22. So this is a cubic equation. We're going to go one less than the cubic equation. So this is going to be a coefficient of 1 to the second power minus 3x plus 6 and negative 22 x plus 2. So on the next one, you try to set this one up, pause the video, and give it a try. Then you can watch me work through it or check your answers. Go ahead. So we're going to take the x plus the 3 and equal it to 0 and get negative 3. So then we put the negative 3 off to the side and we get 1. So we're missing an x cubed. So we have to put a 0 in for that. Then 4, negative 1, negative 1. Drop it down and multiply, add it, multiply, and add it, multiply, and add it, multiply, and add them. So we get 119. So this is going to give us, look at the degree. The degree is x to the 4th power. If we're going to divide by 1 degree, x to the 1st power, then this is going to become 1x cubed minus 3x squared plus 13x minus 40 plus 119 over x plus 3. Go ahead, pause the video, start up this one, see how you do, come back and check your work. So we brought our numbers down and multiplied, added them and multiplied, brought that all the way through. So that's going to be 1 degree less, which is 4x squared plus 5x plus 2, and that is 9 over x minus 1. Alright, let's go ahead and try our last one. So here, what method are we going to use? Are we going to use long division? Or are we going to use synthetic division? Since it's a quadratic, because it's actually not a linear, okay, it's not x to the 1st power, it's larger than x to the 1st power, we need to use long division. So that means we're going to take our x squared minus 3x plus 5. And this is 3x to the 4th minus 5x cubed plus 4x minus 6. Notice long division does not just use the coefficients, it uses the x's also. So we're going to take our 3x to the 4th and divide it by x squared. That gets us 3x squared. 3 over 1 is 3, x4 divided by x squared, 4 minus 2 is 2. So we're going to put the 3x, oh no, this is missing an x squared in it. Almost got busted. So we have 0 x squareds. 4x minus 6. You'll typically see a mistake if it's organized like that. Just be sure you know what you're doing and you can find your mistakes as you go. Alright. Multiply through. And notice that 3 times 1 is 3. X squared and x squared gives you x to the 4th. These must be the same. 3 times 3 is 9. That'll be x cubed because 2 and 1 is 3. X squared with a 5, so 3 times 5 is 15. And that's going to be x squared. Go through and change the signs. So these are going to cross out. They will always cross out. This is 4x cubed minus 15x squared. Bring down your 4x. So now we're going to take the 4x cubed and divide it by our leading divisor, which is 4x. And that goes in here. That goes in the x column. Distribute it to all of those. So 4x times x squared. 4 times 1 is 4. X times x squared. 2 and 1 is 3. Negative 12. X and x is x squared. 4x times 5 is 20x. Change the sign. Those cross out. So now if this is a positive, this is going to give us negative 3x squared minus 16x. Bring down your last term. So we take negative 3x squared divided by x squared gives us negative 3. Multiply it to all of those. Gives you positive 9x, negative 15. Change your signs. So these are now the same numbers but with opposite signs. They must cross out. That's the whole point of why we use negative 3. Negative 25x with a positive 9. So because your degree is to the first power and your divisor is to the second power, that's larger than this one, you're all done. That's as far as you can go. We've reached the very edge. So we know the quotient is going to be 3x squared plus 4x minus 3 and negative 25x plus 9 over x squared minus 3x plus 5. That is your quotient. That is your answer to division. Because it went in there and did not have a 0 for a remainder, we know that these are not factors of each other. It didn't go in there evenly. So that's your quotient.